Well, hello there. It's Gager here with a Minecraft tutorial. This time I'm going to take you guys down into the deep dark and show you guys how to get around in the deep dark with very little to no gear. All I'm going to be going in with is some baked potatoes. That's about it. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how I typically get around in the deep dark with pretty much nothing. I'll show you guys my chest and everything that I have right now. That is all the gear I would normally have in my survival world, but we're just going to go in with literally nothing. And let me just show you guys this real quick. So obviously I've been down here a little bit, but I've been down to this side, this little corner. You can kind of see on my mini map that side's already kind of been. I've looted that a little bit, but just being around here, dinking around a little bit, I've already set off 2 shriekers, so I only got 2 left. So we're gonna see how well I can get around with only 2 more chances to not spawn a warden. So, or well, I guess 1 more chance to not spawn a warden. So if anybody doesn't know, you have 3 chances essentially to set off shriekers and not have to worry about a warden. 4th time is when the warden does spawn. So you gotta kind of keep that in mind, and once he does spawn, there's some kind of cooldown after he spawns. Any other time you trigger a shrieker within like, I think it might be like half an hour in-game time, you will spawn him again and just continue to. And if you run away from him and set up more shriekers, more wardens are going to spawn. So it's just it's a great time. So yeah, we're going to cut to that right now. Okay, so my thought is, since I've already kind of been on that side a little bit, I'm going to avoid that as much as I can. And I set some torches there when I first came down here. Those don't really do anything. If anything, they just triggered the shriekers to go off, because I'm kind of an idiot. So I think the first game plan is to head over to an area like that, grab some carpets, grab some wool, and then we'll kind of make our way through and collect all of this loot. And this is not a tutorial on how to not spawn a warden. Just like to have that disclaimer out there for you guys. So obviously you can sneak and not trigger any of the skulk sensors. The easiest way I found to get down steps that aren't steps, but just like a block step, is to just unshift real quick, move down, and as long as you shift before you hit the ground, you'll never make a sound. And you can even kind of get away with getting a little lazy with it. But even that, I made a little bit of like physical sound, but it didn't trigger any of the sensors. And as I stopped that recording, I just used my 3rd strike. So now we have 1 more opportunity, or I guess next time we trigger one, we will be spawning a warden. So we might be getting to how to evade the warden very early in this episode. Alright, so these are the kinds of areas that we want to find. Just where all of this wool is. It's always in these, that was a close one. It's always in these areas that kind of look like little passageways, little, I don't really know what you'd call them. But you got the top that's all wool as well. I usually go and I try and get at least a half stack, if not a full stack of this wool. And obviously up in my main base, I've came down to many ancient cities, so I have a lot of this wool, a lot of this colored wool, because it's the main one that spawns down in these areas. And another thing to add is you don't have to be crouched to walk on this. Even here, I believe I'll take the chance for us real quick. I believe you can walk on this and it doesn't spawn a warden, but you have to be careful because I think it does switch from the wool to other blocks at just kind of random points. So had I stepped a little further, I probably would have set off a sensor. So I usually just make sure I'm actually on wool before walking around too much. And one other thing I should mention as I'm collecting this, if you see this, I forget what this is called, but this skulk that's on this wool, if you break this wool and it causes this to break, which it will, if you break the block, that does trigger those skulk sensors if you're in range. So definitely avoid breaking that if you can. Alright, now that I've got a full stack of wool, I think I'm going to start trying to make some progress on covering some shriekers and getting some gear. So first one, I'm just going to come over this one. And you do have to cover everything around it. Oh goodness. Yeah, this one is something else. And there is also some kind of dynamic as well around these shriekers where it can come up from like the bottom. I've not really figured that one out. So I'm just going to check around, make sure there's no other shrieker in this area. I'm going to leave these shriekers open for now because I think I'll be able to open the chest without triggering it. So here goes nothing. Yep. And we'll just take everything for now. I would put on those boots if I was just starting out, but since I am starting, I'd rather not have those on for cursive binding. And every time you open and close the chest, it does trigger the sensor, so just remember that. And I usually take this with as well. Okay, so we know from looking from our little ledge up there that there are plenty of shriekers on the inside. We've kind of came along this side, so we checked that perimeter. So now I'm just going to kind of go around this edge to make sure that there's no shriekers kind of hiding over here. And if there happens to be one up on that ledge, then we'll just kind of bite the bullet on that because we can't see everything. All right, so now we're back around to a side where we had already came from. Oh no, oh no. All right, and if you do trigger a shrieker for the 4th time, am I lucky? Did I get lucky? Oh wow, okay. I guess they're giving me an extra one this time. So, like I said, came from over there, went all the way back to that side, and now we're back to here. So we're just going to go right up here. And then we're going to go to our first shrieker, which is the first one you see. Goodness, there's a... I'm actually going to go up here first and just kind of have a... Alright, so this first area, there's... Wow, we didn't even see that one. See? They just really hide themselves. They go there and there. And yeah, I guess we will find out if they can go through that skulk. I've had some weird occurrences where it does happen, and I'm actually just going to fill these holes in. Because if a sensor is close enough to the shriekers, it'll just trigger it if they're right next to it. So it's I'm still trying to figure all of it out. And no matter if you're sneaking or not, if you step onto and like look down into one of those shriekers, it will go off. It's not, you can't just get away with that kind of stuff. As we're going, I'm just kind of like looking around. Yeah, see there's a shrieker all the way up there. If the sensors happen to chain together and go that far, then the warden deserves to come out. Okay, so this one might be the one that gets us into trouble. I'm gonna place this wall down so I don't have to touch ground. And since these are like next to each other, I'm just going to cover all of those up. I think that should be all the shriekers. But if we don't, talk about an exit strategy. We are getting close to spawning him. So our plan, if we do trigger him, is we're just going to make a mad dash to our little exit, our little cubbyhole back there, and just run up. You got to get a pretty decent distance away because he can, if he can sense you, if he can smell you, I don't know what the radius is on that, like maybe 32 blocks or something, then he won't despawn. But as long as you're further than that away and he can't sense you, then you're looking at like a minute and a half each time you spawn him until he goes back into the ground. So Let's try it. Alright, so I think we're good. And we got some protection for mending. Very good. A whole bunch of bones. Nice. Alright, so I'm just gonna break this chest. It seems like we're safe. So I'm not gonna test it too much by walking right there, but I'm just gonna go straight over to this chest. Let me take the skulk and the sensors just to use for redstone and all that. This is just for experience. And aqua affinity, actually need that. And this is where we can really start to shake things up. So now that we've got this, we'll just kind of go through and destroy those. And as long as you have something that's efficiency 3 or higher, it's pretty close to just being immediate. And you can kill several in a very short amount of time, so you can't trigger multiple shriekers. Right. Test it. Oh, yep, we triggered one. Where's that one at? Over there? Oh, right, we spawned a warden, so we are running out of here. Very fast, very fast, very fast. Yep, and you can hear him sniffing. That means we are within his radius, so we are just going to keep moving. Keep moving. I think we're a safe distance away. Okay, so now that I have those now, throw those on. Stay a little safer. And if this seems like it's a safe spot, just drop a chest down, throw all of our loot in here. That way we have as much extra space as we can to collect more things. So I'll wait for him to despawn and I'll catch you guys when he's gone. Alright, so he has despawned, so I'm heading back down now. So we know we triggered a shrieker over on this kind of, we'll say it's the right side. So I'm gonna see if I can figure out where or how we spawn that. And yeah, we'll try and, maybe it's up on this little lip or somewhere in here. Let's double check. Those are candles. They kind of look like the little tops of the shrieker sometimes, but those are just candles. You can walk on carpet, just as a heads up. Since we're right by. Okay, there's a shrieker up there. That'd be the one that triggered him. So we're gonna run. So I believe that shrieker that's on top there is the one that caused our issues earlier. And once again, I'll wait for him to be despawned. I'll be back. Alright, so we should be despawning here pretty soon. As long as he doesn't start sniffing, we're good. Keep heading down. Yep, and obviously that sound is him going back to the ground and away from us, which is a good thing. I will say that once you get Swift Sneak on your pants, these just become a breeze. You literally move so fast that you just kind of fly around the ancient city in crouch mode. You don't even have to worry about running ever, so that is very helpful. And obviously you can crouch and go upstairs. Need to find that shrieker. Believe it is on top. Find a little gap there. There it is. That'd be the one that's giving us all these problems. And like some of the other ones, we're going to cover the sense more through like a small portion of the ancient city. And we freaking triggered it again. And there's not even good loot here. We are running. We are freaking running. That does seem to cover most of the basics of taking on a ancient city. Obviously, as you go, you just want to keep grabbing more wool, covering up the shriekers, and then once you get real brave and find a good spot to hide out in, you can use the diamond hoe, destroy the shriekers, destroy all the sensors, and just kind of go to town that way. So yeah, if you did find this helpful, please leave it a like. If you do have any more questions, suggestions for further tutorials in the future, please comment what you'd like to see. And until next time, have a good one. Bye. One thing I did forget to mention is you also have the opportunity or the ability to just run in, grab a chest, have a little spot like this to hide out in, just run in there and break a chest no matter what's around, and run back out. That is always a possibility too if you really just want to speed run an ancient city. So yeah, I'll give you that one as a little extra.